My name is Elizabeth, and I live in a little country in Europe called Switzerland, in a little city called Geneva. This is my uncle. His name is Alphonse, and this is my stepmother. Her name is Caroline. But my real dad, he's actually Italian. That's where I was born. Fun fact. And this is my real mother. She was very cute. I love her. But then she died. Unfortunately, my dad was very sad. But then he eventually found another Italian woman. I don't want to talk about her. Kind of mad about it. But anyways, my dad sent my uncle, Alphonse, a letter asking if he was willing to adopt me. And he did not hesitate, and he was very willing to accept me and be his own daughter. And everybody told me, especially my mother, that I was the most beautiful child she's ever seen. I was gentle and affectionate. I was just beautiful. And this is me and to marry, and which I did actually marry. His name is Victor. He is technically my cousin, but it's whatever. Me and Victor were really good friends. We always played with each other. He told me that I was as playful as a summer insect and I had a good temper. And my feelings were very strong and deep, and I had a lot of grace, and I enjoyed my liberty, and my imagination was luxuriant. Not to be cocky or anything, but everybody loved me. Everybody adored me. They said I was the most fragile creature in the world, and that my hazel eyes possessed attractive softness. Ooh. One way I busied myself was following the creations of poetry and poets. That's what I was really interested in. I loved poetry. To me, the world was a vacancy, and I saw people with my own imagination. And me and Victor, we were so tight. He would tell me all of his secrets, and we had a promise of strict secrecy. Although me personally, in my interest, I didn't really show any interest in what he talked to me about and his subjects he was interested in, but I just listened because that was a nice person. Unfortunately, when I was about 17, I was diagnosed with scarlet fever. But I'm a very strong woman, and I recovered quite quickly. But unfortunately, my mom, Caroline, she also became ill with the same disease, and it affected her a lot harder than it did with me. And as she was dying, she took my hand and told me that I must replace her as a mother figure to my youngest sibling, William. And then, as we all expected, my stepmom or mom passed away. It was very sad. I love her. Queen. Everybody around me, my family, Victor, my dad, they were all very sad, and so was I, but I really tried hard to renew the spirit of cheerfulness to them and my society. That's just the type of person I am.
When I was young, I met this boy. His name was Victor. He said I was his to love and protect. But as we got older, Victor left, and I became the saddest I've ever been. He had always been my best friend, and he made me feel like I belonged, like I was more than just a pretty face, that I was something more to the world. I discovered a feeling. It wasn't lust, it was love. Because of Victor, I discovered the necessity of love. But William was murdered, and Victor came back to comfort me. I became scared and depressed. I thought we were safe. Felt that there was something I wasn't being told. Justine was accused for his murder and was killed. I became even more depressed, but Victor left again. Because of his absence, I became clingy. I became pushy. I was confused and concerned. But he promised to marry me upon return to Geneva. But he was gone for a long time, and I thought that he was in love with another. I sent him a letter asking him if he found someone else. He said I was the source of his joy. Because of years of friendship, we had built trust. I had no reason not to believe him. Finally, he returned, but he brought news. Henry Clerval was dead. That shattered my heart, as he was a close family friend. And that brought sadness to everyone. But we continued to plan the wedding. And finally, the day came. I was finally married to my best friend.
Alright, after the wedding, with my current husband Victor, I was so excited to be with my lovely husband. We decided to stay at our cottage. Victor seemed very anxious, but I didn't question it. He told me about his secret about the monster, but I didn't think twice about it. He told me to stay inside for the night, and he went outside to go look for the creature. I soon heard footsteps, expecting it to be my husband. However, I was definitely wrong, and I started screaming. The monster was in my house, and had strangled me to death. Everyone was so devastated at my murder, as we had only just barely gotten married. Victor's dad, Alphonse, did not take the death easily, and he died shortly after my death, from a broken heart out of a shock from my sudden murder. Victor went to go tell the authorities, but none of them believed him. My husband, Victor, grieving over my death, declared revenge on the creature that had killed me. The monster hides, and Victor went on a journey to go find that evil creature that had taken me away from him. Victor chases the creature through Russia, the Mediterranean Sea, and lastly, into the Arctic. Victor came really close to finding the creature in the Arctic, when, unfortunately, the ice they were on began to crack, and it separated the two from each other. Victor then falls into the waters of the Arctic, nearly getting himself killed. There, he met Robert Walton, an explorer, and Walton agreed to continue the fight after Victor died. This is the reason why Robert Walton decides to write the letters to his sister, making the entire story somewhat of a cycle. Elizabeth's death is related to the modern world, as her demise causes Victor to go ballistic on the creature. This is relevant as Victor is partly responsible for Elizabeth's death for not taking care of the creature, We as human beings take responsibility for granted and think emotionally before logically.
Frankenstein will forever affect the world around us and our societies. This is due to recurring themes and topics such as the balance of curiosity and ambition, as well as the balance of love and revenge. Without curiosity, anything's impossible. However, with too much ambition, you'll lead to your downfall. Such as Victor was led to his downfall by the creature. Now, Elizabeth was raised to be a trophy wife. However, this is confusing when we look at Mary Shelley's views and how she was an extreme feminist. Although, however, when we look at it, Elizabeth rubbed off her traits onto Victor, showing that males can do exactly what females can do. Now, Elizabeth was the ideal character. She was beautiful, kind-hearted, and talented in every way. And she was the only thing that kept the family together after Caroline's death, as well as keeping Victor from going mad. She also reinforces many important themes of the book, such as the importance of kinship, as well as the necessity of love. The necessity of love is what ultimately stops Victor from going mad. Although, after Elizabeth's death, it does end up happening anyways. Elizabeth's connections with other characters may be complicated. For example, with the creature, he never directly knew her until her last moments. However, in a way, he was her enemy, due to the fact that he swore that he'd destroy all the ones that Victor loved. Yet, everyone else she did come encounter with had loved her. While she was not a necessity to the book, without it, it would have been a much different story and would have ended in a much different way.